the Adipita Kolladam Mutt at the age of 37 in 2015 as well. And you can see one of the most esteemed enlightened or spiritual beings, Sri Shantavira Mahaswami, coronating him.
Elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 Hindu pontiffs, leaders at the age of 36 in the year 2016.
And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is not only revived these indigenous kingdoms, but also revered as the most prolific, most viewed guru in the digital world, read and watched by 1 billion followers in Hinduism.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the reviver of the world's greatest digital Hindu nation with over 1 billion views. And here you are seeing a screenshot of the website nithyanandapedia.org, where we have thousands of videos, hundreds of thousands of pictures for you to watch and learn about the life of the Supreme Pontiff.
Yes, and Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has served 26 years of relentless humanitarian services and initiatives, including free vegetarian food bank and several other different kinds of services.
The global initiatives authored over 300 books and 10,000 articles in 3 languages, English, Tamil, and Sanskrit, which are then translated into 50 languages with over 1,000 titles. Here you can see the screenshots of the books that are published in various different languages.
And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has over 20 million copies of the books and articles sold, read, and downloaded.
Established the largest Hindu library with over 1 million books, 1 million palm leaf scriptures, and with over 20 million digital books.
And with over 10,000 hours of discourses and over 1 billion views on social media.
Respected as a commentator of all sacred scriptures such as Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Shiva Sutras, Yoga Sutras, Ashtavakra Gita, Jain Sutras, etc.
And honored as the leader of Hinduism, the most awarded internationally recognized Hindu leader as well, with proclamations from the California State Senate as well as the United States Senate as well, and several other countries and cities across the world that have started.
Acclaimed as one of the top 100 spiritually influential living personalities by Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine.
And the reviver of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and the Nityananda Order of monks, nuns, and the Hindu diaspora who are working for the global initiatives for giving superconscious breakthrough for humanity.
Establisher of the largest Hindu university in the world with satellite campuses in more than 150 countries.
And as well establisher of the 1008 Kailasa enlightenment ecosystems.
The founder and reviver of over 100 Sarvajñapīఠams.
Now let's enter into the next segment in today's program. We're going to be entering into the demonstration of extraordinary powers done by the Nityananda Gurukul adolescents.
So let us understand what are powers, how powers manifest in us, and the very initiation which awakens these extraordinary powers in us. So let us watch this video as we get ready to watch a very, very, very entertaining and interesting demonstration of the extraordinary powers.
And in just a few minutes, we'll be starting the extraordinary power demonstration. And if you have ever wondered what in our Puranas are talking about when they are manifesting different Shaktis, remotely seeing different scenes, even healing people miraculously, it is something that is not just a tale from our Puranas.
A look, a word, a touch. Power of initiation. Diksha is the direct transfer of spiritual energy by an enlightened being through look, word, or touch. The traditional Vedic book Navaratneshwara states, Sarvasamapi dikshanam muktihi phalamakhanditam avirodhat bhavantyeva prasangyastu bhuktayah. The main benefit of all initiations is moksha, enlightenment. As a side effect, health, wealth, leadership, and well-being happen. And in Rudrayamala Tantra, Shiva says, Devi diksha vihinasya na siddhihi na cha sadgatihi tasmat sarva prayatnena guruna dikshito bhavet. The one who is not initiated does not attain liberation nor a better future. So by all efforts, one should get initiated by Guru. What is the science of initiation? Neuroscience has proved that the process of initiation floods the brain with energy. This is the superconscious energy of Kundalini, our own highest inner potential energy. As the Kundalini flows from the thalamus to the cortex, it sets up a powerful energy loop within the brain, which awakens the latent non-mechanical parts which we have never used before. With increasing levels of coherence, the whole brain comes alive, turning into a superconductor of conscious energies that heal, empower, transform our lives, bliss and fulfillment. Initiation creates high awareness, visualization, creativity. It also slows the aging process and improves the immune system. Kundalini awakening, healing experience, levitation, teleportation, materialization. Experience the power of initiation through a range of exclusive programs conducted at the ashram. Nithyananda Dhyanapitham, Nithyananda Nagar, Biddi, Bengaluru. Contact 97422 03311 82774 90091. Visit www.nithyananda.org.
Yes. So, as you can see, this just power of one initiation has so much of potential inside of you. It can literally give you the breakthrough that you want in your life, the power to manifest the reality that you are craving, not just manifesting Shaktis. So I invite all of viewers to stay tuned and ensure that you are getting a glimpse of the demonstration of extraordinary Shaktis today. The Nithyananda Gurukul.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial.
Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham Om
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Shivoham. Om Nithyananda Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Param. Om Nithyananda Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Satchidanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gahanasudrisham Tattvamasyanilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, welcome to today's Manifesting Extraordinary Shaktis of Paramashiva and Parashakti. Today, we'll be entering to the power manifestation segment of Paramashiva and Parashakti. The Balasans, Nithyananda Yogis, the initiated disciples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, will now be demonstrating the powers of third eye and sharing with all the experience and results of the extraordinary powers awakened in us through Diksha initiation. In today's Bhava Samaya Darshan, all of us will be receiving the initiation into third eye awakening and various other powers and with the blessings and grace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We will be manifesting the following powers, which is third eye, seeing with your eyes completely blindfolded. Third eye is the cosmic browsing center, which is located between your brows, which upon initiation, one can effortlessly express powers and see through the third eye, just as you do with your two eyes. So what are Shaktis? In the Vedagamas, which is the source scriptures of Hinduism, Paramashiva reveals in elaborate detail that every human being is hardwired to be able to manifest 463 plus extraordinary Shaktis, the divine powers. Shaktis are described as a system, method and science for human beings to explore the various possibilities and powers and have access to various states of consciousness. Shaktis manifest from the fundamental cognition that you are divine. You need to manifest divine and not you are man. You need to reach divine. Shakti is expressed from the space of enlightenment as a side effect of feeling connection with the divine and high integrity with the Guru. The Shaktis are the source of enlightenment, whereas Siddhis are powers that manifest from tapas or penance for enlightenment. The Siddhis are on the path of enlightenment. The Shaktis of Paramashiva manifest through ordinary human beings in an extraordinary way after the initiation from the avatar. The Shaktis are permanent, whereas Siddhis are not permanent. Siddhis may divert you from the space of enlightenment. Paramashiva is a primordial divinity in Hinduism, the ultimate reality and cause, which is self-effulgent, Swayam Prakasha, all-pervading, unchanging beyond time, space, form and causality. As a fundamental base of Avyakta, the unmanifest and Vyakta, the manifest existence, he performs the Panchakritya, the five cosmic acts of creation, sovereign rulership and maintenance, rejuvenation, pulling out of delusion, liberating grace for all living entities. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is an 1008th living incarnation and representative of Paramashiva and the reviver of Kailasa, the ancient enlightened Hindu civilization nation, the great cosmic borderless Hindu nation. Ever since the beginning of the civilization, Sanatana Hindu Dharma has been a cradle of enlightened beings and highly advanced science. It was where the science of enlightenment and powers Shaktis was lived and taught as a lifestyle. For the first time in modern day, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving these yogic sciences and transmitting it to the world at record-breaking pace, never accomplished before. Brilliance to manifest the science of power manifestation. For the disciplines of Vedanta, Tantra and Sri Vidya, Yoga and Yogic powers, Mantra Shastra, Siddha Vidya, Science of Aushadha, Advaita and Bhakti Yoga, Paramashiva Jnana, Paramashiva Jnana. So, how to awaken the divine Shaktis in us? Every ultimate truth, which is a jnana, mapped into your consciousness, prajna, manifests as a possibility and power of every being, prajnana. The science of power manifestation is authenticated through four aspects of evidence, which are called pramana, the Shastra pramana, which are the eternal unchangeable truths revealed in the source scriptures. Apta pramana, which are the experience and results of aptas or authorities of Hinduism, the Vedic rishis and science. Test, who have time tested and verified the science. Atma pramana, which are the account of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, this millennium's avatar, personal experience of our manifestation. Pratyaksha pramana, which are called empirical evidence from observation and scientific experimentation. Vedas are the ultimate superior authorities for Hindus. Vedas are the pure science where the ultimate truths are explained. Agamas are the scriptures with applied technology, the applied science is expanded. Vedas and Vedagamas are given the status of Shruti, as they are directly revealed by Paramashiva himself. They are the ultimate, eternal, unchangeable truths. A reference cited from the Shastra source scriptures is called Shastra Pramana. Let us now get ready to witness a very unique and exciting demonstration of the power of third eye. The Shastra Pramana goes by Kapala antarmano nyasya tishtanmilitalochanaha kramena manaso dardyat lakshayed lakshamuttamam. The translation goes, by fixing the mind on inner space within the crown center and sitting stably without any movement, having the eyes closed in succession by the stability of the mind and inner space through the power of the third eye, one directly sees the ultimate goal, Lakshyam, by having the vision beyond the sight that reveals any object or place, attaining the space of oneness with the source, Paramashiva. Apta Pramana, where in the Hindu Purana, Bhagavan Krishna initiates Arjuna under the power of third eye to behold Krishna's Vishwarupa Darshan. The 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which contains the description of Bhagavan Krishna's cosmic form, is completely narrated by Arjuna as he sees Bhagavan Krishna through the third eye. Atma Pramana, which is in Swamiji's own words, the first experience that I was able to see everything around me, above me, the whole 360 degree, 10 directions, below me, everything I realized,
Inside
not
and
that I was able to see,
outside
I was
globe.
able to feel, experience all of that as me. Pratyaksha Pramana, when you are doing the daily activities, high activity is measured in the brain where the third eye is located. When you are in the deep samadhi state, only the third eye region is active and almost 90% of the brain is rest at peace. This rare sacred science of third eye awakening is being made available to humanity for the ultimate enrichment and conscious evolution by Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism embodies the most profound yogic state that surpasses all bounds of time, space and matter. Swamiji is gifting this pure great science of third eye awakening along with many other spiritual sciences through Diksha initiation. Millions of people have been initiated by Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and are experiencing the profound results as extraordinary powers in their everyday life. Let us now witness the live Sakshi Pramana, which is the demonstration of the power of third eye with the Balasans and Nityananda yogis. Now we'll be entering the power manifestation demonstration. I'm going to be wearing this exact blindfold and connect myself in the space of oneness with Swamiji, and today's power manifestation will be reading your eyes completely blindfolded, reading the Facebook live comments. The first comment is the folded hands 3 times. Next is Ananda Krishnan with a flower emoji and something written in Tamil. Next is Binaya Matya Har Har Bole. So these are just reading out the Facebook live comments just with your eyes completely blindfolded. With this we come to the conclusion of today's power manifestation segment. By the end of today's Parashakti's Akashic reading, we'll be having the guided power manifestation session for all of you to manifest the same powers of Paramashiva. Stay tuned. Thank you, Nithyanandam.
Ananda Paramashivoham.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham.
It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within the next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivoham. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Paramashivoham will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive for next 3 years. Nothing else.
What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa. I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model communities. Kailasa'S, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Peethas all over the world. All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. This is a fundamental truth. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystems. I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy
Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you. We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva.
Nithyanandam, welcome back to all of the viewers after that demonstration of the Shaktis of Paramashiva. And I hope each and every one of you were able to see for your own self how the powers of third eye manifest through the Bala sense and how that is a possibility for you. Just with one initiation from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and just with the sheer connection, the devotional connection, the Shaktini Pada, you can manifest these Shaktis as well. And now let us enter into next portion of today's segment of today's program, and let's be introduced to the divine feminine consciousness. Yes, so now we'll be chanting the Dhyana Shloka of Devi Parashakti. Sindhuraruna vigraham trinayana nityamauli spurat taranayaka shekaram smitamukhi mapina vrakshoruham panibhyam malipurna ratna chashakam raktotpalam vibratim somyam ratnagatascha raktacharanam dhyayet paramambikam. And the next Dhyana Shloka. Arunam karunantarangitakshim dhridapashankusha pushpabana chapam animadi viravratam mayukairah nityeva vibhavaye bhavani. The translation says, I meditate on the great empress. She is red in color and her eyes are full of compassion. She holds the noose, the goad, the bow, and the flowery arrows in her hands, and she is surrounded on all sides by powers such as anima, and she is the self within me. And Devi is the ultimate pure feminine consciousness. Parashakti is the cosmic mother. It is her cosmic womb from which billions and billions of universes comes out and go in. She is the source where the Big Bang and black hole goes on. Parashakti is the source Shakti, the source energy and the source power, from which all of us came, in which all of us are even in now, and what all of us are going to merge into. Out of her extreme love and compassion, Parashakti herself is manifesting through the embodied form as the Nijavatara of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, gracing us, answering all of our questions, attending to our prayers, giving boons, healing us, revealing our past, present, and future, delivering profound spiritual truths, and ultimately giving us the experience of Paramashivoham itself. And in the words of Devi Parashakti herself, raising as Omkara, expressing as the Vedas and Agamas, blossomed as Srimkara, filled as Parashodasi, living as the 40 triangles, the Kailasa'S Swamini, who is Kailasa'S Sripura Chintamani, Parashodasi, sitting as part of Paramashiva, Parameshwari, who rules the world, Paramashakti, Manonmani Meenakshi, as Nithyananda, I took the Nijavatara here to give good boon to everyone. And she continues, raising an Omkara, blossoming as Shiva, Shiva manifesting as the source of existence, powers of existence, expression of existence, from the oneness of Om, blossoming into two as Prakriti and Purusha, blossoming as three Shaktis, Ichak, Kriya, and Jnana Shakti, growing as the four Vedas, expanding as the five Panchabhutas, beyond the six Chakras, filled as the seven Gotras of the seven Rishis, expanding as 8 directions, existing as 9 grahas, and blossoming as the 10 Indriyas. Now, how can you receive Devi Parashakti? Swamiji beautifully tells us that literally you are seeing Paramashiva and Parashakti at that moment. She is there in her screen, and so always receive her very traditionally. Swamiji continues, keep 2 betel leaf, 1 banana, 1 betel nut, and 1 coin in front of the screen. Watch Devi, and the coin is considered to be a traditional dakshina in the Hindu tradition. It can be of the lowest value, and in India, and it can even be 1 paise. You can offer that to Devi after darshan over and do namaskar and eat the banana and betel leaf and betel nut. Take it as prasadam immediately and collect those coins and send it to the Kailasa in Los Angeles. This betel nut and betel leaf might look too small, but in a few days you will see how much it adds to your sacred sentiment that really she is there, and you will not take the Devi darshan for granted. Rituals will break your monotonous unconscious behavior and anything inside of you which is unconscious. So now, as you can see, these are the different samples of the betel leaf, the betel nut, and the arrangement of the tambulam. This is traditionally what we offer to the guests and to the divine when they come as guests to our home, and we offer our prayers, request them to be seated in our very inner space itself. So with this program, we are literally doing that. We're literally offering our prayer to Devi Parashakti and requesting her to reside in our inner space forever. So with this, we'll now be moving on to the next segment of today's program, which is understanding the different revelations of Devi Parashakti, which Devi Parashakti has made over the last few months and has guided the whole humanity through this pralaya, the pandemic, and so much of ongoing crisis going on right now. So let us now go into the next segment, and we'll be right back with you after a quick break. I invite all the viewers to take this up.
காளியின் ஆட்டத்தை ஆனந்தத்தை ஆனந்தத்தொடு ஆடிய ஆட்டத்தை கண்டோர் உயிருக்குளெல்லாம் இறங்கி குண்டலினியில் உயிர்ப்பிக்கச் செய்து மாய மனத்தின் இருளை அகற்றி மாயம் அழி மங்களம் தந்து குரு பக்தியும் சிவ பக்தியும் பரமசிவ பக்தியும் பரமசிவ சக்தியும் அளிக்கின்றேன். மனமாயை விடுத்து குரு பதத்தை பற்றுங்கள். நித்யானந்தமாய் நிஜாவதாரமாய் வந்துதித்த என்னை பற்றி வாழ்வில் எல்லா நலமும் பெற்றிடுங்கள். ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
யாதுமாகி நின்றாய் காளி, ஓம் காளி ஓம் சக்தி, ஓம் காளி ஓம் சக்தி, ஓம் சக்தி ஓம் சக்தி ஓம் சக்தி.
ஓம் ஓம் ஓம் ஓம். Kali.
Nithyanandam, welcome back, dear viewers. So I hope all of you enjoyed that beautiful demonstration of the extraordinary powers. Now let us enter into the next segment and understand some of the revelations made by Devi Parashakti. As all of us know, Devi has been continuously manifesting in order to bless, guide, and protect humanity at this time. And Devi has revealed many sacred secrets. Let us understand what Devi Parashakti has revealed as the sacred secret of Hindu birth on the 31st of May, 2021.
நன்றாய் கேட்டுக்கொள். உன் கேள்விக்கு உன்மூலமாய் உலகெங்கும் இருக்கும் இந்துக்கள் எல்லோர்க்கும் அளிக்கின்றேன் உத்திரம். கேட்டு வாழ்ந்தால் உங்கள் வாழ்க்கை பத்திரம். நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள். பிறப்பின் ரகசியத்தை பிறப்பிலா பெருமை உடைய பரமேஸ்வரி சொல்லுகின்றேன் கேளுங்கள். அண்டஜம், யோனிஜம், ஜலஜம், பீஜம் எனும் 4 விதமான பிறவிகளில் 84,000 யோனிகளில் பிறக்கும் பிறப்புகளிலேயே பெருமை வாய்ந்ததும் உத்தமமானதும் மனித பிறவி. அந்த மனித பிறவியிலும் பலமுறை பிறந்து உழன்று அரசியல், பொருளாதாரம், சுகபோகம், தர்மம், அர்த்தம், காமம் எனும் ஆசைகள், துக்கங்கள், அச்சங்கள் அனைத்திலும் அழன்று உழன்று இனி வேண்டாம் இப்பிறவி, வேண்டுவது மோட்சமே என்று முடிவெடுத்தோர்க்கு மட்டுமே ஹிந்து மத யோனிஜம், ஹிந்து பெற்றோர்க்கு பிறந்திடும் சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம யோனிஜம். மனித பிறவி உத்தமம், சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம மனித பிறவி உத்தமோத்தமம். இந்த உத்தமோத்தம பிறவி எடுத்த எல்லோருக்கும் ஜீவன் முக்த விஞ்ஞானத்தையும் சனாதன தர்மத்தையும் காக்கின்ற கடமையும் உண்டு. அதனால் வருகின்ற நன்மையெல்லாம் அனுபவிக்கும் உரிமையும் உண்டு. இந்த கடமையை செய்வோம் என்று சத்தியம் செய்ததனால்தான் அந்த உரிமை அளிக்கப்பட்டது. பூமிக்கு வந்தபின் மனம் மயங்கி மதிமயங்கி சனாதன தர்மம் காக்க மறந்ததனால் மாயை அவர்கள் உயிரை பறிக்கின்றாள். நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உயிரை கொடுத்தாலும் தர்மத்தை காப்போம் என்று உறுதி எடுத்தவர்க்கே சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம யோனிஜம் அளிக்கின்றேன் யான். உடல் பெற்ற பிறகு ஊழிப் பெருவலியால் ஆசை அச்சங்களை உதறவிடாது, உதறியும் விடாது சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்மம் காக்க மறந்தோரை உயிர் வாழத் தகுதியில்லாதவர் பட்டியலில் உடனடியாய் மாயை சேர்க்கின்றாள். அதனால் ராட்சசர்களும் அசுரர்களும் தானாகவே இவர்கள் உயிரை எடுக்கின்றார். நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உயிரை கொடுத்தாலும் தர்மம் காப்போம் என்று நிற்பவர்க்கு நிலைத்திடும் வீரஸ்வர்க்கமும் கைலாச பதவியும் எக்காரணம் கொண்டும் தர்மம் காக்க மறந்த உத்தமோத்தம ஜனனமான சனாதன ஹிந்து ஜனனம் பெற்ற மக்களுக்கு illai veru gadi. Sanatana Hindu Dharma Manida Jananam, Uttamottama Manida Jananam. உங்கள் உரிமை உலகில் அதிகம், உங்களுக்கு கடமையும் உலகில் பெரிது. தர்மம் காத்தாலே கடமை, தர்மம் காக்காதார்க்கு உயிர் வாழும் உரிமை இல்லை. நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உத்தமோத்தம பிறவியான சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்ம பிறவி எடுத்த எல்லோரும் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உங்கள் வாழ்வின் முதற்கடமை தர்மம் காத்தல். தர்மம் காக்க தர்மம் உங்களை காக்கும். சனாதன ஹிந்து தர்மம் காக்க மறந்திட்டால் வாழும் உரிமையை நீங்கள் இழந்து விடுகின்றீர்கள். அதற்கு மேல் வாழ்ந்தென்ன அழிந்தென்ன? பூமிக்கு பாரம் குறையட்டும் என்று அசுரர்களும் ராட்சதர்களும் உங்களை உண்டு தீர்க்கின்றார்கள். அதையும் மாயை கண்டு சும்மாவிருப்பாள். பிரபஞ்ச ரகசியத்தை, பிறவியின் ரகசியத்தை உலகிற்கெல்லாம் உத்தரமாய்ச் சொல்லிவிட்டேன். புரிந்து வாழ்வில் நடந்து உயிரை பத்திரமாய் பார்த்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். அன்னை சொல்லும் அருள் சத்தியம் இது. ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
So
Beautiful.
let us look-
Go ahead, Ma, go ahead.
Yes. So let us look at what Devi Parashakti has revealed, mapped into English. Listen, Andajam, Yonijam, Jalajam, Bijam, like this, in 4 types of births, in 84 lakh yonis. In all of these births, the most greatest birth of them all is human birth. Even in that
Even
human
in
birth.
that, even in that human birth, being born and toiled many times, after getting burnt and toiled in politics and finance and luxuries and dharma, artha, kama.
And those who decide of not wanting this birth, wanting only moksha, only those will have Hindu Dharma Yonijam, the Sanatana Hindu Dharma Yonijam of being born to Hindu parents.
Everyone who took this Uttamottama birth has the responsibility of protecting the signs of living enlightenment and Sanatana Dharma.
After getting the body because of painful delusion, not dropping fear and greed. For those who forgot to protect Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Maya, she will immediately add them all to the list of those who are not worthy of living.
For any reason, people who forgot to protect Dharma, having the Uttamottama birth of Sanatana Hindu birth, there is no other way for them.
Those who do not protect Dharma, they do not have the right to live. Understand properly, all those who took the Uttamottama birth, which is Sanatana Hindu Dharma birth, all of you understand.
The first responsibility of your life is protecting Dharma. If you protect Dharma, Dharma will protect you. If you forget to protect Sanatana Hindu Dharma, you lose the right of living.
After that, what bothers whether you live or get destroyed Asuras and Rakshasas will eat you, so that the burden on earth is reduced. Seeing that, Maya, she will keep quiet.
What is really the responsibility of Hindus? Let's now enter into the next segment of how we as born Hindus, living Hindus, practicing Hindus, how can we take responsibility for our birth and for living a Hindu life?
Hinduism represents the world's most ancient yet progressive indigenous spiritual tradition. It is an open framework model of civilization that stands for global peace, vegetarianism, non-violence, yoga, the worship of nature, temple-based living, manifesting spiritual powers, and the inherent divinity of every being.
The Hindu nations were ecosystems where more and more enlightened beings could be produced, so that enlightened civilization could be kept alive and the great gifts shared with the world.
Let us look at some of the references of Hindu nations from our Hindu scriptures. Many of our Hindu nations were very well known all around the world for their prosperity, their abundance. So let us look at some of the most famous references that you probably have already heard.
The first reference we have is from Valmiki Ramayana. The most spoke about dharmic governance is the governance of Bhagavan Rama. Every praja, the citizen, was so happy, and even till today, thousands of years later, it is still spoken about. The Hindu nation ruled by Bhagavan Rama, called Rama Rajya. In the words of the great sage Valmiki, who writes the Ramayana, he says, "There were no widows to lament, nor was there any danger from wild animals, nor any fear born of diseases. The world was bereft of thieves and robberies. No one felt worthless, nor did old people perform obsequies concerning youngsters. Every creature felt pleased. Every one was intent on virtue. Turning their eyes towards Rama alone, creatures did not kill each other." This is from Valmiki Ramayana, Yuddha Kanda, the chapter 128, verses 99 to 101. And I just want to bring our attention to a few aspects here. How is the quality or the greatness of governance being measured by? Today it is measured by the purchasing power parity. Today it is measured by the economic power of that nation. However, in the Vedic tradition, in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the best administration is an administration where people do not have any fear. There were no diseases. There were no mental illnesses. People were bent on virtue. People were living virtuously. Those were the parameters with which an administration was told as the best administration or the best governance. Now let us look at all the powers of the world. Everything is driven by money. Everything is driven by the bank balance, or the power, the purchasing power parity, or the economics is all driving all the nations. Not okay. How are we measuring? Which country people are happy? In which country people are having less mental illnesses? Which country has people who are there are no thefts happening in those countries? People are intent on virtue. People are living their responsibilities. There are no robberies, and that we are living in tune with the nature. Those are the parameters with which a Hindu nation was governed.
Yes, and the description of the Ramaraja continues on. People survived for thousands of years with thousands of their progeny, all free of grief, and the trees there were bearing fruits regularly without any injury by insects. The clouds were raining in time, and the wind was delightful to the touch. Everyone performed their own duties, satisfied with their own work, and bereft of any greed. People were intent on virtue and lived without telling lies. All people were endowed with excellent characteristics. All were engaged in virtue. So as Manyanatma Swami said, you can see that the way that the description of these kingdoms were all based on the happiness, the virtues of the people, not the GDP or the purchasing power, as Mahatma Swami had said.
Let us look at one more example. It's not just one exception in the form of Ramarajya. Even in Mahabharata, if you see the kingdom ruled by Yudhishthira is called the Dharma Raja, the king of righteousness. How he ruled is beautifully described in Mahabharata, and that's what we are going to be seeing in the next slide on the rule, the Yudhishthira, the Dharma Raja. After the Mahabharata war was over, Yudhishthira was coronated as a king by none other than Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. And in the words of the great sage Vyasa, who wrote the Mahabharata, this is from Sri Mahabharata, Ashwamedhika Parva, the 15th chapter. It says, Devas granted rains to fulfill all wants. The world became free of all disease. There was no hunger or thirst anywhere. There was no mental suffering. Those without livelihood were given livelihood. There was abundance all around. There were no worldly worries left for anyone, and there was no cause to fear either. Happiness on earth was in fact even greater than in the heavens. Again, here, let's look at the governance and the best administration is rated in terms of people living without any mental suffering, people living without hunger or thirst. There were no worldly worries. So the way in which people live, how we are rating a nation today is extremely different from how the Hindu nations were governed, administered, and how they were even the way you talk about those Hindu nations is totally different. It is not just driven by money. Of course, there was abundance all around, but that's not the only factor to say, okay, this was a great Hindu nation. No, where that there was no cause for fear, there are no worries, there are no sufferings, and the rains happened beautifully. We were living in tune with the nature, and that is exactly what the Supreme Quantum of Hinduism is reviving today as Kailasa, the greatest enlightened Hindu civilizational nation.
So our Hindu nations had so much to contribute in every single field, whether it was the fields of enlightenment, health, medicine, art, science, technology, aviation, dance and music, clothes and jewelry, social systems, judicial systems, political systems, legal systems. In every single field, Hindu nations gave huge breakthroughs and contributed so much to the world. Many of these breakthroughs are still used today, whether it's in health, medicine, in our aviation. So many breakthroughs that were given thousands of years ago by our Hindu nations are still relevant today. So now let us understand over the course of thousands.
Now, what really
how
happened
our-
to Deepam? Go ahead.
Yeah, you can continue.
So the great kingdoms ruled by Rama or Yudhishthira, they were extremely prosperous. We were one of the richest civilizations in the world that existed at thousands of years ago. So what really happened to these Hindu nations? How were these Hindu nations destroyed? That's what we're going to be seeing in the next segment of this program. What really happened? What led to the destruction?
So the destruction of the Hindu civilization happened over the course of 1,000 years. And it was a three-phase destruction. The first phase came with the Islamic invasions between 800 and 1700 AD. This was the physical destruction of the Hindu civilization. And Will Durant, a very famous historian who has studied India and Hindu history, has explained that the Mohammedan conquest of India is probably the bloodiest story in history. The Islamic historians have recorded with great glee and pride the slaughters of Hindus, forced conversions, abduction of Hindu women and children to slave markets, and the destruction of temples by the Islamic warriors during 800 AD to 1700 AD. Millions of Hindus were converted to Islam by sword during this period, and millions more were raped, murdered, and dismembered. So you can see how brutal this destruction by the Islamic invaders was. And you can see how barbaric, how brutal this invasion was. This was why many of our temples were destroyed during this time. Many Hindus were converted forcefully during this time.
Here you can see the Islamic invasions, how they have destroyed the Hindu civilization. You can go ahead.
Yes. And the Islamic law prescribed for Hindus conveyed by Khilji has described that Hindus are like mud. If silver is demanded from them, they must with greatest humility offer gold. If a Mohammedan desires to spit into a Hindu's mouth, the Hindu must open it wide for that purpose. God created Hindus to be slaves for the Mohammedans. The Prophet hath ordained that if Hindus do not accept Islam, that they should be imprisoned, tortured, put to death, and their properties confiscated. To keep Hindus in abasement is especially a religious duty, because the Hindus are the most embittered enemies of the Prophet. So this was exactly the description of the Islamic law prescribed for Hindus during the time of the invasion of Khilji, one of the most famous invaders in history, one of the most barbaric, well known for his brutality during this invasion, during the Islamic invasions. And during this time, Hindu women were forced to wear, actually we can go back to the previous slide, please. Hindu women were actually forced to wear garlands made from bodies of butchered children. So you can see in this photo how the women are wearing, actually this is obviously a drawing, but this is actually one of the punishments enforced upon Hindus during this time.
You can't even imagine how it would have been, how somebody can be so brutal and so violent towards other beings. And in the words of Kanhade Prabandha, he says, the conquering armies burnt villages, destroyed and devastated the land, plundered people's wealth, took Brahmins and children and women of all classes captive, flanked with thongs of rawhide, carried moving prison with them, and converted prisoners into weak visitors. This is what the Islamic invasion did to one of the greatest, grandest, and richest civilizations in the world, Sanatana Hindu Dharma. 200 million Hindus slaughtered by the Muslim invaders, 100,000 temples destroyed, 1 million deities and scriptures have been destroyed during the Muslim invasion.
So the next phase of the destruction of the Hindu civilization came with the British occupation. This happened between 1700 and 1947 AD. So with the Islamic invasions, that was a physical destruction. Next came the economic and psychological destruction of the Hindu civilization. So though the British did not physically attack, destroy, kill, murder the Hindu population, forcefully convert them, this was a much more strategic attack against the Hindu population. And Will Durant has described, I have seen a great people starving to death before my eyes. I am convinced that this exhaustion and starvation are due not, as their beneficiaries claim, to overpopulation and superstition, but to the most sordid criminal exploitation of one nation by another in all recorded history. So in this, Will Durant is actually describing one of the most famous famines that has happened in India, the Bengal famine, which unfortunately was imposed on the Hindu population by the British. It was a false famine, and it was imposed by the British in order to starve the native population into submission. You can see the photos of the native population at that time, the Hindus at that time, how brutally they were starved. So even though this was not directly a physical attack on the Hindu civilization, the Hindus were both economically and psychologically destroyed during this time.
The second phase during the British occupation, what also happened was the British Empire used all possible means to destroy Hindu civil and cultural institutions in order to delegitimize and demoralize the indigenous people of India. So they would become slaves in their own homeland. So what are the different strategies that they used? Discriminatory laws and engineered famines, annexed Hindu kingdoms, and mistranslated the Hindu scriptures, destroyed the indigenous Gurukul education system, destroyed the local industries, and forced importation of British goods, and banned Indians from owning or producing firearms.
And during the British occupation, over $45 trillion was looted from India over the course of 200 years. And 45 million Hindus were put to death due to artificial famines and imposed poverty by the British policies and the reprisal killings for the 1857 mutiny. And over 680 native kingdoms were usurped by the British Raj. Sashi Tharoor of the Indian Parliament has described that the British came to one of the richest countries of the world. Over 200 years of exploitation and destruction reduced it to a poster child of third world poverty. So India, over 200 years ago, 300 years ago, was known as one of the richest nations. It was known for its abundance in gold, in gems, in spices. Everywhere across the world, India was known for its abundance, its prosperity. And after the British occupation, the British invasion, India is now known as one of the most impoverished countries. It is, as Sashi Tharoor has described, it is literally the poster child of third world poverty. When Western countries think of poverty of the third world, so-called, they imagine India, because that is what the British have reduced it down to. That is what the British occupation, British Empire has reduced it down to. And the next phase of the destruction of the Hindu civilization came with the secularization of India. So after the Indian independence in 1947, the secularization of India happened, and it is we're still currently in this phase of destruction. This has been ruled by brown faces, British attitudes, and policies towards Hindus. Nehru has described, "What a disgusting, savage people we are. Socialism, communism, science, where are they before this black religious savagery? India can never be a Hindu republic." So Nehru is the first prime minister of India, and you can see his attitude towards Hindus. Despite India supposedly being a secular nation, you can clearly see that he had a very negative attitude towards Hindus. He was very clearly had a negative attitude, had a anti-Hindu agenda. And he was not the only leader who had this agenda, who had this, who created this whole ecosystem that was anti-Hindu. You can see in the next slide. Yes, B.R. Ambedkar, one of India's first law minister and the principal architect of the Indian Constitution. So one of the primary leaders in India, one of the first leaders in India who has actually established the Indian Constitution. What it is today even is based on what he wrote. And he has described that if Hindu Raj does become a fact, it will no doubt be the greatest calamity for this country. No matter what Hindus say, Hinduism is a menace to liberty, equality, and fraternity. Hinduism is incompatible with democracy. Hindu Raj must be prevented at any cost. So again, you can see one of the first leaders of the free nation, so-called free nation, secular nation of India, has clearly, again, an anti-Hindu agenda. And he has, of course, because he was one of the first law ministers, he created the Indian Constitution, that he created this whole ecosystem, this environment that was very clearly anti-Hindu.
Next, we have the different ways the secular India led to the destruction of the ancient Hindu civilizational nation. The next point that we would like to share with you is that the modern Indian legal system, the academia, media, all systematically undermine, suppress, and delegitimize the Hindu institutions and culture. For example, the India's constitution established government control and taxation over Hindu temples, schools, while other religions are free from interference from the government. Now, a secular government, if you see in the US or in other countries, does not interfere in the religious affairs at all. However, in India, under the name of secular government, the very constitution itself established government control and taxation over Hindu temples, but not of any other religion. The Articles 26 to 30 of India's constitution discriminate against Hindus by giving special rights and benefits to non-Hindus, like government benefits and scholarships, etc. Hindu kingdoms and self-governance was abolished. Anti-superstition laws passed to only criminalize Hindu practices, but not for other religions. Mainstream Indian academics describe Hindus as sexist, racist, backwards, and oppressors, and the negative media portrayal of Hindus in Bollywood and TV.
And during this phase, which we are still in currently, the media narratives have been used to demoralize and delegitimize the Hinduism. Bollywood and other mainstream media outlets have consistently portrayed Hindu gods and gurus as cartoonish and as sex fiends in a manner that is similar to the British propaganda. And media narratives are used to shape human consciousness and further political agenda. The racist British colonial stereotypes portraying Hindus as superstitious, backwards, and corrupt are perpetuated by their British Brown successors in modern day India, completely unabated. So you can see some of the examples of how Indian media has portrayed Hindus. So despite it being a secular nation, despite it being a free nation, they are still perpetuating the stereotypes and negative stereotypes and portrayals that the British had perpetuated upon India. And it's still being perpetuated today, as this is how they are portrayed. Hindu gods and gurus, as we've seen in many videos, movies, in the news, are seen as corrupt and as sex fiends, very backwards, and as oppressors. Unfortunately, this is still going on in India today.
Now let's look at the revival of the Hindu nations, how the Hindu nations have been revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism now.
So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has given the vision for the Hindu civilization. And in the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's own words, describes, during the time of the Mahabharata, we Hindus had 56 deshas, 200 states, 1,700 samsthanas, 10,000 sampradayas. In all 56, we Hindus are persecuted. Now we have lost all 56. The last of all was Nepal. I am the collective voice of all the persecuted Hindus. I will revive and rebuild the Hindu civilization built on the Veda agamic principles for all practicing and aspiring Hindus, as a safe haven for all the persecuted Hindus.
How the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been reviving Kailasa. The revival of Kailasa, the Hindu nation, is for the reviving the Vedic tradition, is for bringing the legitimacy and reviving this whole life of enlightened civilization and all the great things it has to offer to the world. Bringing legitimacy to all the offerings of Sanatana Hindu Dharma and sharing it with the whole world is the purpose of this Kailasa, the Hindu nation.
And the administration of Kailasa is the revival of the cosmic constitution. Kailasa is the model nation of how enlightened civilization should be living and administered. Politics, judiciary, education, everything will be revived, as Paramashivoham revealed in the Veda alchemic scriptures, the Sanatana Hindu Dharma scriptures. So everything will be exactly as Swamiji is completely reviving everything as per our scriptures and reviving it back to their original glory, including the administration of Kailasa.
if we as Hindus do not take responsibility now, Hinduism will be totally wiped off from our lives. Being one of the most persecuted civilizations, Hinduism is on the brink of extinction, such that the next generation may know about Hinduism only through history books. So, what can we as Hindu do to stand up for Hindu civilization and all that it has to offer to the world? In one of the very recent satsangs, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said, let us at least share what has happened to us through the social media. It is the responsibilities of us as Hindus to share about our persecution, to share about the great signs of enlightenment, use the platform that is available to us, the social media, and share it with the world. Share what has happened to us, share our ancient knowledge with the world just through the internet, wherever we are. I'm sure all of us are using social media in some form or the other. So in the social media platform that you are using, do share about Hinduism, share about the teachings of the Supreme Pontiff, how Supreme Pontiff has been reviving the ancient Hindu civilization and nation, this great science, share it with the world.
Today, Hinduism is a political orphan. The preservation and restoration of Hinduism's spiritual and cultural heritage is impossible without a national identity. So what can we do to save Hinduism? As Devi Parashakti revealed, it is the responsibility of Hindus to protect Hinduism and share all of its great gifts with the world. That is the reason that we were given this Uttama birth of Sanatana Hindu birth. So let us understand, what can we actually do to save Hinduism?
First, let us reclaim our Hindu identity. We as Hindus, over the years of British persecution and invasion and colonialism, we have been made to feel so bad that we are a Hindu. When I was living in India, I felt so bad that I was a Hindu. I wasn't a proud Hindu because we were told we worship idols and all superstitions and whatnot, and that is still being taught, unfortunately, in India. And Hinduism is not taught in any school. So I never grew up, even though as a Hindu from a traditional family, I never grew up knowing about the Vedas and the Agamas and the great signs of enlightenment. So the first and foremost responsibility is reclaiming your Hindu identity. And the thing that we need to do, we can move on to the next. The thing that we need to do, at least for you, for your next generation, let them be introduced to Swamiji's teachings. Let them watch Swamiji's videos and let them be accustomed and tuned and learn Hinduism.
Yes. We need to understand that Hinduism is responsible for our successful life. If you are a Hindu and you are healthy, wealthy, rich, successful, peaceful, happy, respectable, have a stable family life, have the best mental health, you need to understand that Hinduism is responsible. Our Hindu identity is responsible. Our Hindu scriptures are responsible. It is the Hindu scriptures which have given us the best mental setup and all the best things that we Hindus have. Our Hindu scriptures are responsible.
So what can we as Hindus do? Right? And first of all, understanding that the success is because of a Hindu bringing up, because of a Hindu background. Hindus today are the richest and the most successful ethnic communities in the world. You see all the developed nations, whether it is US, Canada, Australia, UK, everywhere, Hindus are the most most educated group. Hindus are the richest ethnic community. Even though they are a minority in many countries, we contribute quite a bit to the economics of the world in terms of Silicon Valley is full of Hindus. All the startups full of Hindus. It is because of our Hindu lifestyle. Our enlightened masters are responsible for this. The Hindu thought currents are responsible for this. And everywhere if you go, it is just our Hindu life, our Hindu culture, which is leading to a stable family, lower crime rates, happy living, and the children are given a stable ambience to be able to excel in their education.
It is not just the anti-Hindu elements being active, it is the responsible Hindus being inactive that is responsible for this whole destruction of Hinduism. And as Devi Parashakti revealed, due to fear and greed, after coming to Goloka, we've gotten mentally deluded. We've forgotten the responsibility that we have taken up when we were given this Hindu birth, the commitment that we have given when we were given this Uttama birth of Sanatana Hindu birth. So now let us take up the responsibility for Hinduism, and let all the Hindus all over the world reclaim our Hindu identity. Let us reclaim what we Hindus were given as a gift, all of the wonderful teachings of Hinduism, all of the sciences that Hinduism has contributed to the world. Let us reclaim that and share it with the world.
The responsibility of Hindus. And the recent satsangs, actually, Swamiji has been sharing and delivering. I sincerely recommend each and every one of you to watch the satsang on delivered on the very special Diwali message, a very powerful message by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We can move on to the next one. The very special message by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism on the responsibility of Hindus and how Hinduism, the greater science of enlightenment, what all Hinduism can offer to the world, not just in the field of enlightenment, but in every field.
Yes. So it is the responsibility of Hindus to revive this enlightened civilization again and again and share its great gifts to the world, and to continuously revive the Hindu civilization and to bring the enlightened civilization to humanity. And that's exactly as Devi Parashakti revealed. We were even given this Uttamattama birth, this Sanatana Hindu birth, because we have committed this responsibility to protect Hinduism and all the great gifts that it has to share with the world, to share with humanity. So the revival of the Hindu civilization, the only Hindu nation, Kailasa, is the survival need of humanity.
So it is an invitation to all Hindus, born Hindus, practicing Hindus, people who are sympathetic towards Hinduism, curious towards Hinduism, wanting to explore, enjoying Hinduism. We invite each and every one of you to come and be a part of this revival. Join Kailasa, where Swamiji is reviving the enlightenment ecosystem, just being in your home. Swamiji, a few years back, in 2018, Swamiji delivered a message that just be alive for the next 3 years. I will reach out enlightenment to you, to your very bedroom. Enlightenment will be delivered by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and we can all live this enlightened lifestyle. So whether it is books or videos or teachings or everything is being offered free of cost by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through Kailasa. So all we are requesting you is come and be a part of this revival. Share about Kailasa, share about the Supreme Pontiff's teachings with each and every one, whatever background, religion, beliefs that they may be in. This is a science of enlightenment. So this is not a religion. Do not just put it as a religion and think, okay, I belong to a different religion. No, Hinduism is a science of enlightenment. Like how we learn the science of gravity, the science of relativity. It's not like you don't think, okay, Thomas Alva Edison has a different belief, or Einstein has a different belief, so I don't need to learn this. This is a science. Hinduism is a science of enlightenment. So please don't just categorize it as a religion and miss out on all the things that Hinduism has to offer to the world. This is for each and every human being, all the 7 billion population of the world. So all we are requesting is, if you are a Hindu, just take responsibility to share this science with the world. It can be just one video of Swamiji. It can be just one book, e-books of hundreds of books available free of cost online in Kailasa'S websites. Whether you're sharing a video, whether you're inviting them to come and watch Swamiji's satsang or follow Swamiji's Facebook page, whatever it may be, just take a little action, and we invite you to come and be a part of this revival.
Yes, and actually you can be a part of this whole revival by signing up to be an e-citizen of Kailasa. You can go to kailasa.org and sign up to be an e-Kailashian. You can enjoy all the benefits of Hinduism and share, as Nithyananda Swami said, all of the great teachings of Hinduism that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving.
Your Holiness, on behalf of all Buddhists of Russia, I would like to wish you a very good morning. Today marks the 13th year since the teachings for Russian Buddhists began. We have been so fortunate to be with you for many years in Dharamsala, New Delhi, and Riga, Latvia. We truly miss those moments, and we will always cherish them. We all impatiently look forward to being in your presence again. This is the second year that we're meeting online for the teachings. On behalf of our co-organizers, I would like to welcome everyone to today's event. A few years back, we consulted with Your Holiness by asking which books on Buddhist philosophy and practice we should translate into Russian for everyone's benefit. Your Holiness recommended a list of important Buddhist texts. We were able to complete translating several books since then, and it is my honor to humbly inform Your Holiness that a few months back, we completed the translation of and publishing the following texts by Maitreya. In Sanskrit, Mahayana Sutra Alankara. In English, The Ornament of the Great Vehicle Sutras. In Tibetan, Dodegen. Second, in Sanskrit, Dharma Dharmara Vibhanga. In English, Distinguishing Between Phenomena and Pure Being. In Tibetan, Choda Chunye number 2. Third, in Sanskrit, Madhyayanta Vibhanka. In English, Discourse on Discrimination Between Middle and Extremes. In Tibetan, Udanamye. The texts were translated by Algirdas Gugievicius, edited by Andrei Terentiev, and published by Save Tibet Foundation, Moscow. We are thanking everyone who generously provided support to this important project. It is a big honor and blessing for us that today, Your Holiness will be bestowing us the teachings on Mahayana Sutra Alankara, the ornament of Great Vehicle Sutras, Dodegen. Your precious teachings will definitely help Russian Buddhists to understand and depth of this text, as well as the Buddhist Bodhisattva path to which its main subject. With prostrations and offerings of the mandala on behalf of all Buddhists of Russia, I wish Your Holiness a long life and good health. Today, we begin the teachings with the recitation of the Heart Sutra in Tuva language, led by the head of the Buddhists of Tuva, Kembalama Natsik Dorju. The recitation will be done in the main temple of Tuva, Kure Tsechenling. It will be followed by the Heart Sutra in Buryat language, led by Yilo Rinpoche. It will be recited in Rinpoche Baksha Monastery in Ulan-Ude, Buryatia. Thank you, Your Holiness.
투시체
인디달라 바가바디 브라냐 바라미다 기리다 데비달라 준데네 마셰라기 바로 드침비니모 다와다다 어더기예 메르게 노감 바라미다 전능 줄리 줄리 Hıbılığı sağdaki zartı kurhan oldukun iltüge kılır agavadı prajna paramita hridaya tubude kılır ramdan dema şeravcı paraldu çimbi nimbo mongole kılır ilıcı tugos nukşıhın hıbılığı sağdaki zartı kurhan oldukun Medo damare ravlince nide Jambadi zanje jendo mede bulavai Do namda jılan jovaraju Gare ravin goravi shimkamsu bande devamalı jomine jare deva dinden rantoye Ravanzece barado sanjoroje İdan guru radnamandava kamnirya dayami 야, 나 더리.
So today,
좀 된 대기 내 땜버디 장내 장도
so with regard to the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha has prophesied that my teaching will spread from north to north. So there is such a saying. And so the Buddha Dharma spread in India, in the monastic institution of Nalanda and so forth. And then from India, it spread to Tibet, and from Tibet, it spread to the Mongolian regions, Buryatia and so forth, the ethnic Mongolians also. So we understand this prophecy to mean that the teaching will spread from India to its north, Tibet, and from there to its north, which is the Mongolian regions. And so, in any case, the Buddha Dharma, and particularly the Nalanda tradition, this pure tradition of the Nalanda, which can be explained not merely on the basis of faith, but through reason and logic, through investigation into the teaching of the Buddha, following the teachings of Master Nagarjuna and his disciples, and also Master Asanga and his followers, but particularly the following Master Nagarjuna's lineage. So the writings, in order to understand them, we need to study logic and epistemology. So in Tibet, we have the study of Vinaya and Abhidharma, of course, but the important texts that we study are Pramana Vartika Kareka by Master Dharmakirti, and then there of the Tatu Samgraha thing. So in other words, Tibetans have this very good tradition of studying Pramana texts on logic and epistemology. So when I was young, most of the Gomang Geshis were from Mongolian regions. And then in Sera also there were few, and also in Gaden Changse there were few Mongolian students and Geshis. And so the great monastic, the Geshis were Mongolians. And then regarding myself personally, one of the assistants in debate was Ngodup Tsogye, who taught me the procedure of debate. And